Thank you, sir. Councilman Olney?
Yes, an interesting evening, to say the least. And I would say that Skip Trimble and Steve Woods, the two consultants we had come in for hydro, very specifically said, do not sell off your hydro plant on Marble Street. It's a legacy asset. So obviously, both of them understood that somebody was talking about selling it off for $40 million. And it was you and Butler that were both discussing that this was going to be what you did until you found out more information from those consultants that we pushed you into forming a hydro committee in order to do. So every time you come out and say, where's your plan, Cliff? I was talking about a plan back in 2019 when you went on with John Moore and said, nothing's possible because this is New York State. So, Mayor, let's just be honest on one thing, okay? I'm the one that had the plan back in 2019. You didn't think anything was possible. But you go out and you have this lack of relationship with the truth. We heard this on the radio the other day with Glenn Curry, all right? And we've heard it pretty much tonight. And I see all your supporters are here, right? Clapping, cheering, making their comments. And that's fine, okay? So when this thing is all done and said, there's a difference. There's something higher than the city's charter. It's called the New York State Constitution. And it takes precedent over what may happen. And I also find it troubling, truly unfortunate that the mayor would use the city's ethics board as a political tool, and for them to come to the finding of anything other than there may be something more that needs to be looked at more closely, I am surprised, really, because I know some of the people on there. I can't imagine what was said at that meeting. I do know that I calls for the recusal of our city's attorney to be there representing pro or con any information on that to them, and that we would have an outside counsel do that. And that was refused. And so here we are. And so what you can say and what you can do and what you can try to do is going to be judged over the next few weeks, okay? For you to suggest that I release confidential information when you have done it multiple times throughout the time you've been in office, and I've watched you do it and heard you. And the most recent one has been this one, with the draft that you came out, and then you set it aside as though it's not privileged information because you deemed it to not be privileged information because you got it outside of the executive session. So that makes it okay. But that too will be determined because some of the things you accused the developers of. So I have an issue with a situation that's going on Court Street. We have a situation down there at 132 Court Street who has not been able to access, get out of his entranceway into Court Street because of work that was going on. The city didn't notify him adequately in a time, and he was stuck behind there. And then all that would have had to have been done is for his neighbor to have said, listen, there's work going on for the National Grid cable that's being installed through the alleyway, which is your legal easement. Please go ahead through the back of my building. And that is not going to happen because he doesn't want to do that. Then we had the pavement going on, and the alleyway was paved, the easement for what is 132's easement. It's been determined by Judge McCluskey's court that it was an easement. And we had another incident where Mr. Bradley, he's sitting in the audience here tonight, called the police to have them investigate what he considers to be a trespassing on property that was already deemed to be a legal easement by Judge McCluskey's court in 2018. Since then, we've had 12, and this will be 13 different occasions where Mr. Bradley is called up and said that somebody's trespassing on his property when he clearly knows because McCluskey issued that order. And I was with Mr. Shangus Scobay one time, and I was accused of being on property that was supposedly his property when it was actually a legal easement, because after the investigation was done, we found out that it wasn't trespassing. And so what I'm going to propose, and I would like to support, and I want to start the process, is to take the property behind Mr. Bradley's buildings there in eminent domain in order to make it into an access way so that the people behind in that building can actually get in and out of their building because he wants to be uncooperative. And so that's the next thing. All right, so you know.
You want any for
don't know.
yourself or what?
No, I want the
some of his
city to
stuff
have
here?
access. I want another street back there so we don't have to have this continuous argument. And our police resources making false reports to the police department multiple times over the last several years since the determination was made by the city's Supreme Court judge, Judge McCluskey, that you were wrong in doing what you did, but you continue to do it anyway because you don't want to be a good neighbor with your other neighbor for whatever reason. And he's been more than generous and reasonable. And it's come to an end as far as I'm concerned. So you want to keep pushing the issue. I was hoping that you would
Come across
acquiesce.
the Rubicon.
Anyway, that's what I'm planning, and that's what I'm looking at. All right, so you know, as far as transparency, I've heard a lot about transparency. We have a troll page over there with a lot of people that are not being exactly transparent with their identities in this city, don't we? And so, you know, when I hear transparency, I think hypocrisy. That's what occurs to me. And I can see it again tonight with what it is you're suggesting and what it is that you've manufactured and what you've done and what you've gotten as far as your result at this time, you know? So we will know those names over there soon, and they will be public. Water pressure is not adequate for fire protection. The person that spoke about that, we can look into the pressure on that one Cayuga Avenue. Look at good. Jason is ashamed of me. Well, I don't know, where's Jason? I'm not sure. There was one last thing. I think I explained this in the earlier part about that problem with the pipe being picked up. You'll look at that, Mr. Mix. Okay. All right, so, I mean, I think you're right. For us to have devolved into this particular situation here on council between you and me, Mayor, all right, for the reasons that we have, I think it could have been avoided. I've asked you multiple times throughout the year for you to join in what it is that we're trying to do, and somehow you continue to believe, and maybe that's just your misunderstanding of what happened with the golf course deal. You want to make it out to be corrupt. You want to make it out to be something it never was. It was never any of those things. It was a multifaceted deal, and for the reason that I said, it was done in order to correct a problem that you started back in 2006 with your below-market lease and attacking a developer in this city for all of these years over that below-market lease because it was unfair to him to subsidize with a below-market lease a discount on that land, all right, to his competitor. And so Mr. Ballard made a comment. He says, I wonder what side you're on, Mr. Olney. I'm on the side of the person that is wronged by this city. Whenever I see somebody that is wronged by this city, whether it be picking up copper beside their house through code enforcement, whether it be a developer that wasn't treated fairly because his competitor was giving a below-market lease, which was a huge discount, and it wasn't fair, but you did it anyway. And so people know it was for the mayor's best friend's father's golf course and the shareholders that worked up there. And it was sold to the public as for your benefit. We're going to have a golf course up there because we want to bring back recreational opportunity to the city. I've watched this stuff for a long time, and I've seen exactly who's responsible for the corruption in the city and the different things that have gone on here and who got the favors and who didn't, you know? And it was my interest in seeing that cleaned up. But as long as there are certain people that are going to persist, then we're going to continue with that. We'll see in this year's election what the public feels they would like to do. And my determination about what I saw is based strictly on the facts that I have, the determination I've made because of what I've seen done here. And I did vote for the Harris Beach firm when you first came here. I did. And I've changed my mind through the time because of the events that I've seen develop for a political reason, in my opinion. And that's all I got tonight, Mayor.
Alrighty. Councilwoman.
Okay, thank you. There will be an Eclipse Committee meeting on Tuesday, the 26th at noon